Hi guys. Oh, hold on. Sometimes I can't tell if this thing is recording or not. All right. So, anyway, how are y'all doing? Um, Tonight's video is going to be girl chat on Are You With the Right Guy? And that's because I had somebody contacting me asking me about, she's kind of unsure because this guy she's with wants to become serious, but she's kind of, you know, up and down about whether it's right. So she was asking some advice from me about making sure he's the right one. Well, speaking from experience, I am divorced twice. And because of the experience of those marriages, as well as a lot of guys I have dated, um, I got to tell you, the advice I'm going to give you is um, if you can be who you are completely with this person, not have to change who you are, not have to change to please this person, not have to do everything they say in order to make them happy, um, you're kind of on the right path. Now, of course, you have to compromise in any relationship, whether it be romantic, work, roommates, whatever, family. Of course, you have to compromise. You can't get in a relationship with someone and not compromise at all. However, um, through my own mistakes in choosing people, I will tell you, now I know that when the time comes for me to become serious again with a man, maybe lead to a permanent relationship, now I know, after all the hardships and the mistakes, um, that the most important thing is to keep your own identity and to know that he accepts you exactly as you are. Okay, you do not want to get in a relationship with a man who thinks that he's going to change you in any way, whether it be your looks, your weight, how you dress, anything about you. If he's making any kind of hints about, oh well, you sure would look good if you wore this, or wow, maybe you should start healthy eating because you'd really look good if you lost a little weight, or that kind of stuff. Or maybe you should try a different hairstyle. I think you look so good. If you get into a relationship with a guy like that, you're already on the wrong path because he's already looking at you as some kind of a project of how he can fix you. And that's the worst thing you can get into. You need to find somebody who feels like it's your best friend. Literally, like this guy is your best friend. Like you can be yourself. You know how you are with your best friend. Um, your girlfriend comes over and it doesn't matter if you're a mess. You just woke up and you're at your worst, But she could care less. She's like, I know how it is in the morning. I don't care. And you can sit and have a cup of coffee and laugh and talk, and you're not even worried about that. That's what you should have with the man that you end up getting into a serious relationship, whether it be, um, to start dating seriously or to live together or to get married, whatever that situation. You have got to know that you can be you, okay? And that he has to accept who you are, what your beliefs in life are, what your religious beliefs are, whatever they may be. He has to accept you just as you are. If you are in a relationship and you're thinking, well, I don't know, he doesn't seem to like this, he doesn't seem to like that, or he seems upset when I do this, or whatever, you know you're getting your red flags, so don't ignore those red flags. Because I'm telling you, I know now that when I get serious with someone again, it is going to be someone who accepts me exactly as I am. Doesn't want to change me in any way. Because you know what? I don't want to change. I don't want to be in a situation where I'm thinking, what can I do to please this man? Oh my God, never again. I used to be that girl long time ago. Never again. He either accepts me just as I am or forget it. And that's what you need to look for. Can you be yourself? Can you not be at your best and you still feel comfortable around him because he doesn't care? It's like, okay, so she's having an off day today. Who cares? She doesn't feel like doing her hair and makeup today. Who cares? I love her just as she is. That's what you need to look for, ladies, and girls, young girls. If you're thinking of getting serious with somebody. Um, if you're with a guy who starts making you feel like you need to change in any way, first of all, you're going to become resentful. You're going to start getting angry inside of you. You're going to start holding this negative place inside of you because you're starting to feel like you're not good enough for him. And if you're with a guy who makes you feel like you're not good enough for him in any way, you know in your heart that that guy is doing that. And if you're with that kind of guy, you're going to end up miserable, okay? Don't try to kid yourself. Don't try to find excuses for him being the way he is. Oh, well, he has a really stressful job. Oh, he didn't have a good relationship with his mother. Oh, you got to let go of all that crap, ladies. Let go of it. You are with the right guy if you feel like you're with your best friend, okay? That's how it has to be, because if it's not, it ends up being a not happy situation. I know, I've been there, believe me. And some of the guys that I dated, I could not really be myself, and that's when I really realized this is the wrong person. I feel like I remember feeling like, oh gosh, I'm not comfortable. I didn't feel like, I don't know, maybe I'm not wearing the right clothes. Maybe, I had that hesitation, I guess you could say, of feeling that it was right. And of course, they turned out to be the wrong person. So, to you, I'm telling you, um, if you're having doubts about it, there's probably something already there that's giving you a little red flag, a little signal that's telling you, maybe this isn't the right guy. Um, those little red flags, that little gut feeling you get, there's a reason for it. We were given that sense for a reason. And you have to follow that. You have to kind of pay attention to it. Of course, you have to make sure it's not just that all of a sudden there's somebody else in your life and you're like, oh my gosh. You do have to make compromises. You're going to have to work around one another. You're going to have to get used to each other's ways. You're going to have to accept one another's ways. You can't just go into a relationship that's serious, like living together or marriage, and think it's just going to be all your way. No, that's not the reality. You do have to compromise. But what I'm saying is there's a difference between compromising, like, okay, well, he likes his steaks cooked a certain way and you like it a certain way. You know what I'm saying? That's not big stuff. I'm talking about where if he wants you to actually change who and what you are, what your beliefs are, what you feel about life, um, if he wants you to start changing everything that you are, then you are with the wrong man. Okay, don't try to kid yourself, because it can ruin your life. You can waste a lot of years with the wrong person. Okay, and don't think that because you said that one of your friends said that you're being too picky. Well, you know what? I don't believe that anybody's being too picky if they feel like there's something not right about the person they're with. That's just a red flag. I mean, sure, there are people out there who might have a problem, like, they expect somebody to be totally perfect, which is impossible. But the majority of times, if you're feeling like something isn't right, it's probably because something isn't. So you need to kind of investigate that gut feeling. Don't just ignore it. We're given that feeling for a reason. And the advice I can give you is you need to, I know it sounds silly, but you need to kind of test this person. Um, See what he's like when you're sick. Even if you have to fake it, pretend you're just feeling bad. See what he's like when you're sick. Does he really care about you? Is he showing concern? Is he doing things to take care of you? Or is he like, oh, well, okay, say, I'll see you tomorrow then. Tell me when you get better. You don't want somebody like that. Um, does he, show any interest at all in whatever your beliefs are, whether it be religious or spiritual or whatever, your path in life? Does he show an interest in it, or is he just like whatever? Because if you get somebody who doesn't show any interest at all in what you and your life beliefs are, um, you're going to end up looking for someone who does. Let me tell you, you will end up looking for someone who does, and that of course will ruin the relationship you're in. So you've got to have the feeling that he really cares about you, who you are, what your beliefs are, maybe your goals in life. He has to support them. Um, I think you're asking me because you really do feel something's not right. There's something off already, and I got to tell you, some of the relationships that I have seen throughout my life, the ones that I saw that were truly happy, the people they are who they are. They didn't change who they are. They got to stay who they are. I mean, for instance, um, if you're with a guy who thinks, well, you can no longer hang out with your friends because now you're with him, well, you need to get rid of that guy. Okay, and obviously common sense. You can't go out every night like you do when you're single. That's, we're talking common sense here. You can't be living the single life while you're trying to make a commitment in a relationship with a man. But you cannot be trapped in the house all the time either, because he says, oh no, you can't do this, you can't do that. You're with the wrong guy. And of course, he has to have the same values too, like you. Yeah, you go out with your friends once in a while, but of course, your main commitment is your relationship. But if he's trying to control you and tell you, no, you can't do this, you can't do that, you're with the wrong guy. Um, and like I said, compromise is part of the relationship, of course. But you have to stop and think, also in that respect, what are you compromising on? Is he making you feel like you have to compromise on everything in order to get along with him? Because, in my view, if he doesn't accept you just as you are, inside and out, I think you're with the wrong guy. You should be able to feel like you do with your best friend, where, maybe you have days where you don't even want to talk to your best friend. It's like, I just need my space. He needs to be able to give you that space. Maybe you have a night where you just you don't even want to sleep with him because maybe you're overtired, you're exhausted, you're stressed. You just want to be alone that night, just get some rest in your bed, another bed, or on the couch or whatever. He needs to be okay with that. If he's not, then I would suggest he's probably a little controlling, because it's just like in your life as a single person. You have your days when you love to talk to somebody on the phone, or go visit, or have them come visit. And then you have your days when you just kind of want to hang out by yourself. Light your candles, get in your fuzzy robe and just kind of let loose and just be yourself. Well, it's no different. You should be able to do that in a relationship as well. And if you can't, if you feel like you have to be with him all the time because he makes you feel like you have to be with him constantly, I mean, like just round the clock, got to be around him, you're with the wrong guy. Um, Even if it's something as simple as being able to just go in separate rooms, in your house, your apartment, whatever, you should be able to do that and not feel guilty, not feel like, oh my God, he's so upset that I just don't want to sleep with him tonight. We're human beings, and as human beings, we sometimes just need our alone time, our alone space. It's just part of being a human being. Uh, Sometimes you just don't want to be around somebody, and he should be comfortable with that. If he's not, I'd be a little concerned. Um, and same goes, like, if you want to hang out with some friends, he may not like all of your friends, but they're your friends, and they don't necessarily have to be around him. And you should be able to go and hang out with your friends. Now, however, if they're rude and terrible towards him, that's a different story. You have to open your eyes. Again, common sense. But if it's just one of those cases where he's kind of like, I don't really like her, but you really like her and you get along great with her, well, you should be able to go out with her. Go to a movie, go to lunch, whatever. Now, I'm not talking about going out and getting drunk all the time. I don't believe in that. I'll be honest with you. To me, when you're in a relationship, I think hanging out in bars is a dangerous situation. I really do. I mean, it may sound old-fashioned to you, but I don't think the bar scene is the place to go when you're in a serious relationship. There are many other things you can do in life. Many, many, many other things besides go to a bar and get drunk. So I think that's kind of I don't know, I just don't like that. To me, that's a dangerous little situation, getting drunk, being around a bunch of guys who are always out to get girls. I think you're kind of asking for trouble, and I don't think you should put yourself in that position. You can go out with your friends to a nice restaurant and have a glass of wine or whatever. You can go, to movies, you can go to lunch, you can go shopping, you can go do all kinds of things, find out what's going on in your city. There's a lot of things you can do together with your girlfriends. Doesn't have to be going to a bar, getting drunk and having a bunch of guys hitting on you. I think you're putting yourself in a temptation's path, and I don't think that's necessary. Um, but you should be able to go out with your friends. Same, and a kind of reverse too. You need to allow him to be able to be with his friends. Now, I don't believe in going out till 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning all night once you're in a relationship. I think that's kind of pushing it a little bit. But you should be able to go out and have a good time. Do some stuff with your friends. You need to be able to something as simple as I don't feel like cooking tonight. I'm just not going to cook. Make yourself a sandwich or order in or something. If he expects you to cook every freaking single night, I'm sorry. I know now I will never do that again. It was different when I had my kids. Of course, I had to. You have to make meals and stuff. But even then, if you have a night where you're just like, I don't feel like doing this, he should be understanding that maybe it's a night to order in pizza or something for the family. Um, don't get in a situation where some guy expects dinner at 5, at 6 o'clock when he's home, and if not, he gets mad. You're with a jerk. You're with the wrong kind of guy, and you need to get away from that kind of guy because you're a human being. You're not somebody's property. You're not somebody's little live-in slave at home, And a lot of guys, when they get married, they feel like, okay, now this woman is in my life, so she's going to do this, she's going to do that. No, you guys need to share the responsibility. I don't care if you're a stay-at-home mom either. Where is it written that he should get off at 5 and his day's over, but you keep going until you drop in bed from exhaustion, taking care of the kids, the house, whatever, because you're a stay-at-home mom? Yeah, I don't go for that. And there are a lot of men who feel that if a wife stays at home with the kids and what have you, that she that's her job. She should keep going until she drops at 10 or 11 o'clock at night. But yet he gets off at 5, comes home to a hot dinner, and gets to watch TV and relax. No, I'm sorry. If you have kids or you're getting to a relationship where you're going to get married and you're going to have a family, you need to be sure ahead of time that this guy knows, hey, buddy, don't think that, it's just my job to take care of the house, to take care of the cooking, the cleaning, the laundry, and the kids. Don't ever get into that situation because you will end up in a very miserable situation. It's a job for both of you. And a lot of guys do think that once you get married and the kids come along, especially since you're just, you're young and you're starting this relationship that could lead to marriage, don't you ever get involved with a guy who thinks that because you're now married that all the woman's job is yours. No. Running a household, the cooking, the cleaning, the laundry, the kids, everything is a job that should be shared by both of you. I don't care if you stay home as a woman or if you go to work. It's a job to be shared by both. So you make sure ahead of time as well. And the biggest thing is that you need to really be able to be who you are. Okay, be who you are. Don't change. Don't feel you have to change. If you start feeling like you have to change to make him happy, you are already in the wrong relationship. You're already on the wrong path. Do not get involved with somebody that you feel you've got to change who you are. There's a difference between compromising in a living relationship and changing who you are. There's a big difference, and you need to learn that difference. Some people put those two together that, oh, well, compromise means I completely have to change. No, compromise is just learning to get along with somebody that is now going to be around you all the time. You're going to have to learn to tolerate some of their ups and downs and their moods and their bad days, help them when they're sick, things like that. It is an adjustment. But you don't change who you are, who the core of you is, in order to get along with them, because then you are with the wrong person. So you have to remember that. There are people who will stay married for their whole life with the wrong person just because they're afraid to get out of the marriage. They're afraid of being alone. They're afraid that they'll never find somebody else. They will stay miserable and in that marriage even though they know they've made a mistake. And I think that's just pretty sad, because I think it's better to be alone than to be with someone you are absolutely unhappy and miserable with, just because you realize, okay, I made a mistake. Maybe you were young when you got married. Maybe you were lonely. Maybe you were a little desperate, so you kind of just married somebody or ended up living with somebody, and you don't want to leave it because you're afraid for some reason. That's a pretty sad reason to stay with somebody. You need to be with somebody where while you're dating, He comes to your door and you just woke up and your hair's a mess. You don't have your makeup on. You got your robe on, and he's like, "Good morning, beautiful." You know, you don't want some guy who walks in and is like, "Oh my God, you need to go get ready." Wrong, wrong guy right off the bat. Because we are human. We are not some Barbie doll that we're going to be in perfect shape all the time and looking perfect in hair, makeup, and clothing all the time. We are human beings, and they need to accept that in you. That you're a woman, you're a human being. You're not a Barbie doll. So you need to stop and think about all that, and you need to see how he reacts around things when you're down. You know, see how he really is. Don't kid yourself. Maybe you're with a guy you just think he's the cutest thing in the world. Don't kid yourself. You know, see him for what he really is. If you're not in the best of moods, see how he reacts around that. If you're not feeling well, see how he reacts around that. When maybe you're PMSing or maybe you're in menopause, depending on the age here, see how he is with that, because you'll get a big clue as to what kind of man he is and how he treats you when you're not at your best. Anybody can be a wonderful person when they're around somebody who's at their best. That's not a big deal. You need to see what he's like when you're not at your best, because that's a real important thing. Because there are guys out there who, you know, while you look your best and you're acting your best and you're the happiest and you're just, oh, life is wonderful, he's just wonderful. And then if you get sick with as a dog with the flu for a week and you're vomiting and you're just miserable and feeling your worst and looking your worst, he's like kind of staying away and maybe not really, yeah, whatever. Oh, gee, honey, okay, well, you really need to see what he's like when you're at your worst, to be honest with you, when things aren't the best. Um, Maybe you're having a rough time at work. Does he really care? Is he listening? Or is he like, oh, well, you know, whatever. That is how you see what kind of a caring man he is. Is he willing to help you around the house, the apartment, whatever, while you're dating? Is he willing to pitch in and do everyday things with you, like go to the grocery store, or maybe he drops by and you're vacuuming and cleaning. Is he willing to pitch in and help, or is he like, oh, well, I'll see you later then? You'll get a big clue, believe me, about the kind of guy he is on how he reacts to you in your everyday life. Not just while you're dating, going out to dinner, dressed up nicely, going out for a drink, going to a party. No. You need to see how he treats you. This is one of the biggest see how he treats you in your in everyday life activities. That's what you need to focus on. Is he willing to be a part of that everyday activity that you have in your life, whatever it may be? Or is he the kind of guy that only is he's at his best when you're at your best? Because if that's him, you don't want him. You don't want him at all. You want to see how he is around you in your everyday life. And especially like if you have children, say you're single and you're a single mom and you have kids, you need to see how he is around everyday life with your children. Not just him taking you out to dinner and drinks and movies and what have you, because that's not the real world. So that is one of the biggest clues. See what he's like in everyday life. The good, the bad, the happy, the sad, the up, the downs. You need to see it all and be honest with yourself. Do not sit there and sugarcoat it thinking, oh, well, he's just, you know, oh, he's been having a rough time. No. You need to see what he's really like in your everyday life. That's very important. Does he do little things for you that make you feel special? If he doesn't do anything for you to make you feel special, you're with the wrong guy. You don't want some guy where down the line you're desperately seeking somebody else outside of the marriage or relationship because you're feeling unloved, you're feeling unappreciated, you're feeling unnoticed, you're feeling like he's not even giving you attention. That's what will happen. You will start looking outside of the relationship for that attention, for that love, for that feeling of worthiness, you know, like, well, do I really matter to this guy? If you are with the guy who doesn't do little things, bring you flowers, buy you a little gift now and then, take you someplace special, just do little things, you know, leave you a special note, a little letter, something, just little things here and there. If you're with a guy who doesn't do that, I'll tell you what, you will end up looking for it outside of the relationship. And that's not what you want because, well, of course, that's miserable. That's misery down the line. And that's very important. So I'll tell you, the one who wrote me, um, does he do special things for you? Does he include himself in your everyday life activities, whether it be something as simple as going to the grocery store or um, maybe offer to help you, take your car to the mechanic. Maybe you need some work on your car and you don't know about it. Maybe he'll be willing to help you. Just all these little things that come up in everyday life. How does he respond to all of that? Do not sugarcoat it. Do not tell yourself, oh, well, that's just kind of the way he is. Because you know what? That kind of the way he is what's going to make you hate him down the line when you have to live with it on a regular basis, guys. I mean, that's the facts. And so many relationships fall apart on the woman's end because the man does not give her enough attention. The reality is most women cheat in a relationship, a marriage, not for sexual reasons, but because they're not getting um, um, the emotional attention that they need. They're not getting that feeling of being worthy in the relationship. And that's usually why women go outside of a relationship, because all of a sudden here's this guy giving her attention. Oh, you look so pretty today. Oh my gosh, I love that dress on you. Oh wow, you've got the greatest sense of humor. Oh, your hair looks so pretty today. When a man doesn't do that for you, that's when you start feeling like, wow, what am I even in this for? So if you've already got that, I mean, yeah, granted, after years and years of marriage, no, it's not going to be like it was in the beginning. But if you're starting the relationship with a guy who already doesn't do all this stuff, well, years and years down the line, you're going to be in a dead end relationship. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. So I want you to stop and think about what he's like in your everyday life, how he treats you in general with giving you attention, how he takes care of your emotional needs. Is he there for you emotionally? Um, think about how he responds to your family, your friends. Nobody's going to get along with everybody, or rather, nobody's going to like everybody in your life. No, there's not one person that can like everybody, all your family, all your friends. That's not reality. There's always going to be somebody in your family or friendships that maybe he doesn't like that much. But is he mature enough to say, oh, well, they get along great, so what's the big deal? As long as, the people in your life aren't rude and nasty to him, well, then, it should be okay that you can get along with him and still have a relationship with him. So basically, that's it. See how he treats you. Don't kid yourself, guys. Ladies, do not sugarcoat it and kid yourselves like, oh, well, whatever. See how he treats you in your everyday life. See how he treats you, how he feels about your friends and family, and how he responds. Rather, uh, you know, if he doesn't like, say, somebody in your family, is he the kind to say, well, I don't really care for her, but, don't worry, we'll get through it? Or is he the kind to say, oh, she's a bitch. I want no part of her. She's not going to be. You start getting into that kind of a thing, you're going to have hell in your relationship. Because you have to compromise. You have to stop and say, oh, well, maybe I don't like her uncle that much, but oh, well, that's her family. Those things are very, very important. So I want you to stop and think about all these things. Um, it's very important that he accepts you just as you are inside and out, accepts your life, your beliefs, as I said earlier, okay? If you're of different religions, he has to completely accept that in you. He cannot go into it thinking, well, I'm going to eventually get her to, believe in my beliefs. No, 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 because then you will be miserable. And you have to make sure before you have children that you're both on the same page, that, you know, if you're going to have religious beliefs, you need to get that taken care of before you get married or get into having children, because that can cause serious problems down the road as to how you want to raise those kids. And that's something very important you need to get taken care of ahead of time. So don't let that one go. If you're a religious, if you have religious backgrounds. If you don't have any, well then no problem. But It's all those little things that you don't really think of when you're, starry-eyed and in love, and you think, oh, he's so cute and he's so nice to me when we go out. Well, you're not going to be going out all the time. You're not going to be at your best dating self all the time. And that's what you need to be sure of how he is when you're not in that at your best mode. That's the most important thing, because it's real easy to be easy to get along with and easy to like somebody when they're at their best, obviously. So that's what I say to you. My advice is make sure you're with somebody who you don't have to change yourself, okay? And like I said, there's the learn the difference between compromise and changing yourself. Um, you have to be who you are. If you like, a certain type of music, you like a certain type of food, whatever, he can't be sitting there trying to tell you, oh, that's awful. You don't want to listen to that. Oh my gosh, no. If you like to do art, if you like to say do photography, if you whatever it is you love, your heart and soul that you love to do, if he tries to stop you from doing those things, you're going to end up hating him. And I'm telling you, you will end up despising this man. He's got to accept you just as you are and what you love in life, okay? That's just the facts. And that's why most relationships do fall apart. Two people, if they fall in love, they're all starry eyed, and you know how they say love is blind, it is blind. It can be very blinding that you don't see them for who they really are. And I don't care who says what, and I don't care what you think about it, but I believe you should test people. I believe you should do little tests to see what they're like. Put them in situations, like I said, maybe call them up, say, you're not feeling well. I don't feel well today. And don't tell them you're doing this stuff, because then you won't get the real reaction. But you test them. I'm not feeling well today, honey. I just don't feel good at all. My stomach hurts, or I've got a really bad headache. See if he says, well, what can I do for you? What can I get? Or if he comes to be with you is even more important. Does he want to come and be with you and help you through it? Or is he the kind to say, oh, well, gee, honey, I'm sorry you don't feel well. Call me when you feel better. Drop that SOB right off the bat. You don't even want that kind of guy. So I'm sorry, I'm a believer. Do little tests in various things. Put him in situations that maybe aren't the best. See how he responds and reacts, because you can find out a lot about their temperament, if they have any abusive tendencies, if they have any aggression that's a little more than you thought. You can find out a lot. And I think that's very important for a relationship to last, because when you're starry-eyed in love, you can really overlook a lot of things about what a person is. So that's what I have to say. Be sure you can be who you are, and do a few tests in there to see how he responds to everyday things that come up in life, and you'll get a little answer, uh, a general answer as to what kind of person he is. Okay. So if you're asking me that you're not, that you want to know what really makes a good relationship, I will tell you, I may be single and I may have been divorced twice, but it's that experience that has taught me what to look for that I didn't know before. So, yeah, I will tell you, be sure you can be yourself. Be sure you can turn to him and know that he's really going to be there for you, not just during the good times. You don't want a fair weather guy in your life. You want a guy who's there for all the good and bad, happy and sad. You don't want someone who's just there when it's easy for him and when it's joyful for him, because that's not a real guy to be with. That's a phony. And like I said, you will end up miserable, hating him, and looking outside of your relationship for someone who can provide that true emotional connection you need. A sexual connection can go like that, but the emotional connection is what's going to really keep you together to even have that better sexual connection. So that's my advice to you. Don't change who you are. See what he's really like in everyday stuff, everyday situations. See what he's really like around your family and friends. See what he's like when you're not feeling well. See what he's like when things go wrong at work. See how he responds if you were to say, oh gosh, I think I might get fired from my job. Is he going to go, oh my God, and run away? Or is he going to be like, well, honey, don't worry. If that happens, we'll find you, you'll find something else. Is he there to support you? Those things are very, very important. So that's my advice to you. Uh, uh, be who you are and see what he's like. And do not sugarcoat it. Listen to me. Do not sugarcoat who he really is. Because you will be the one to pay down the line. You both will, actually, because you'll be miserable, he'll be miserable, and probably won't last. So that's what I have to say to you. Um, Make sure you discuss everything if you're going to plan on having children, what your beliefs are, how to raise them, what, religious things, discipline, money. Be sure you discuss things about money, uh, how he feels about, how to run things financially. That can create a big problem. There are some guys, there are some people who, they are like, I want to know every single dime you spend. I would tell a guy like that, get lost. Obviously, you have to keep up with, your financial situation together. But I'll be damned if someone's ever going to make me feel like, you spent $10. What did that go to? No, that's not going to happen. Because I look at it in the way, if I'm with the man, I'm not going to be cheating and spending money on somebody else. And if that's what's going to happen, well, it'll eventually come out, right? So you don't want a guy who wants to keep tabs on every dime that you spend. Of course, you can't be foolish with money and get yourself in financial trouble, but you know what I'm saying. You don't want somebody who's that controlling. That would piss me off, to be honest with you. If some guy is saying, well, oh, Lori, I noticed there's $10 out of the account. What did you spend it on? That would irritate me after a while, okay? So you gotta find out about all these things before you get really serious. If you're planning on living together, getting married, because if you don't, that could destroy your marriage. And might sound like a lot, but it is a lot, because if you're going to get serious, well, you could lead to living together or getting married. And if you don't find these things out beforehand, well, then your relationship falls apart. What a waste of your time. Okay? So, children, money, um, religious beliefs, just you who you are beliefs, your view on life, and all of that stuff, guys. Find out beforehand, and that way you have a better chance of making things work that rather than afterwards, and then you're like, oh my God, what did I get into? I can't believe he got so upset at me because uh, I stayed an extra half hour with my friend. You got to find out about all this kind of stuff. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you shouldn't be considerate of his feelings. Of course you should. If you're going to go out with a friend and say you said, I'll be back by about 11 or whatever, if you're going to be an hour or so later, well, yeah, pick up the phone and say, honey, my friend wanted to talk a little bit longer, so I'm going to be with her for a little bit more. Of course, be considerate, but don't let someone control you. There's a difference. So, anyway, guys, put all those things together. Think, you in particular, think about it before you get really serious, because those are the things that matter. So, we will talk to you later, guys, and good luck to you on your relationship. And think long and hard about all those things. Tally up your pros and cons, and you know what I mean. So, talk to you later, guys. Love you. We will see you.